Hello and welcome. Today we're going to do a class mostly standing up. So sometimes your little one isn't so keen on being down on the ground, and I'm sure you've had moments where you are quite literally walking around for much of the day trying to settle your baby, or your little one doesn't want to sit down with you, and you're just sort of thinking, oh, I wish there was something else I could do other than just jiggle and walk. So hopefully some of these exercises might just inspire you for those moments that you feel like you want to do something a little more. If you need to rest at any time, rest. If you need to press pause to tend to your little one, then do that too. Otherwise, let's begin. We're going to have our little one in our lap. And if that doesn't quite work for you and they're happy to be down on the mat in front of you, then please take that option. But we'll start by grounding into our seats and finding some length in the spine. So if you've got your baby here, just hugging their little bodies into your belly, finding that length and just making sure that the jaw isn't pointing upwards but is coming back towards the back of the neck and running parallel with the earth. The shoulders are feeling a little bit bound up today, gently opening them back and broadening the collarbones. So we'll just find a little rock from side to side. Babies love movement. And might be here that you feel a little bit of restriction in the spine, even with older children, picking them up every now and then, I certainly do. And then finding a little bit of stillness once again. Empty the lungs so there's no air left in them. Might mean a little tightening of the belly to push it all out. And then take a long, slow breath in, all the way to the top of the throat, and then exhale back out again through the nose, and just starting to feel the body relax. Long, slow inhale right to the top of the lungs, and a lovely, complete breath out. Let's go for another 3. Slowly breathing in and just making sure that you feel the whole body fill up with air, not just the lungs. And then exhale as that breath out delivers you a little heavier into the ground. And as we slow the breath down, we slow down the anxious and busy mind. We breathe away anything that has happened in the last 12 hours or 24 that's made us feel a little bit tense. And then blinking your eyes open and taking a regular breath again. So just as we did at the start of the class, we're going to make that movement of rocking back and forth a little bit bigger. And in fact, we might start to stir the pot a little bit. So taking the body into rotations and imagining that your spine is like a wooden spoon stirring up a big pot, a pot that happens to be your pelvis. Now if you want to add a hand or 2 hands if you're not holding baby, and just making sure that the movement is aligning nicely with your baby's movement as well. And then the other direction, and some older babies might find this quite entertaining, but what it's doing for us is starting to open up the hips and the lower back. And coming back to center, again you can hold your baby in your lap or you can choose to pop him or her down. We'll sweep the right hand all the way behind the hips, take a breath in and just into an easy twist. So we anchor down through our seat, we lift up through the spine and then exhale, softening in. And then coming back through center, we'll go to the other side. Take a breath in as we lengthen, and then exhale, softening into your twist. Take another breath here, and exhale. Let's come back through center, and we will pop our little bubba down now, and just take a moment to get them all settled in. We'll just do a few seated cat-cows, so taking hands to knees when you're ready. Inhale, pull the chest forward, and then exhale, round the spine, chin towards the chest. Inhale, and exhale, take it back. Big breath in. Rounding the spine, using your hands to anchor you there. You can lean right back onto the tailbone. Inhale and exhale. Come back into an upright seat, interlace your fingers, stretch up nice and high, and just add a little bit of organic movement here. So whatever feels good for you. Whatever gets into those side seams. And let's release. Coming on to all fours. I'm playing a little bit of peekaboo with baby here. So rolling forward and then coming back. Peekaboo to bubba and coming back into an extended child. You might feel a few cracks and pops in the shoulders, perhaps, perhaps in the hips. You can start to add the feet by tucking the toes, making sure that you say your little peekaboos when you come forward. And then here we are again on all fours, and we'll move into a downward facing dog. So tucking the toes, take a breath in, and then exhale, let's take it back into down dog. So keep a bend in the knees here, maybe pedaling out the feet. Let the head rest in between the shoulders. Making sure there's no tension at all. And if your hamstrings are really tight, I want you to avoid straight legs. Keeping that bend keeps our muscles nice and safe and allows us to actually get a little bit higher in the hips. So taking a big long breath in, down towards the pelvis. Stay for that exhale as we gently bend the knees and encourage the heels towards the floor. Take your gaze forward and start to walk your feet towards your little friend. So here in Uttanasana, we can take a moment just to reassure our babies or say a little hello. And then slowly we'll come to standing. So just take your time, unraveling. Take a breath in, lift, and fold down to baba. So deep bend in the knees towards our baby. Inhale, lift halfway, and fold once again. Inhale, lift. Reaching all the way to baby, all the way to the sky rather, and then down towards baby. Lengthen halfway and fold. So half sun salutations are just a really nice way to gently warm up our bodies. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Halfway we go. And fold again. Rise. And this time we're going to move into a chair pose. So we don't have to have the toe knuckles together, but we can have the feet hip distance apart. We'll sit back into our chair and lengthen the arms forward. So we want to transfer some weight into the heels and tuck the tailbone under. The toes can just come up off the floor or gently pour a little weight forward, just so they're touching. If having the arms out long is a little bit hard on the shoulders, keep your hands towards your heart, holding here for 3, 2, and 1. And we're going to do little raindrop fingers back down to your little one. A half lift to say peekaboo. fold, and we'll take the left foot back. So let's just scoot this right foot forward a little bit so the knee sits on top of the heel. The left knee will be behind the hip, and we can untuck our toes. So we're in a low lunge. Now what I really want you to do is take your left hand to your glute, engage it. So not just letting it be a little bit soft, but switch it on. Now, after we have our little ones, our muscles are very soft and supple, and they're meant to be. You know, we've just birthed our babies. They're not meant to be hard and rigid. But this is where we start getting the mind-body connection by literally popping our hand on that muscle that we want to squeeze. From here, we take our arms high, we press the right foot into the floor nice and heavily, and then draw that heel back towards the left knee. So we're scissoring the legs together and getting that lovely lift in the groin. Take a moment here, inhale, and then exhale, left hand to the inside of the foot. We come into an easy twist as we spiral the chest towards the right. Take a breath in. Exhale, take the arm behind you, maybe reaching back for a little more of a shoulder stretch, and then lift it up and over like a rainbow towards a bubba, and just again reassuring them that they're still part of our practice. Now taking your hands into little tent hands, we'll tuck our left toes and gently lift that left knee off the ground. Now into a high lunge, it's best to keep that left knee bent, and then we're going to lift up into a high lunge. So maybe perhaps we take that hand back to the glute, really squeeze and engage, just to make sure that that connection is there. And when we feel it tighten, we can take that arm back. Take another inhale here. Lengthen the spine, and then raindrop fingers down to baby, and we'll make our way back into downward facing dog. So bending those knees, pushing the floor away from you, broadening the upper back. Take a moment, inhale. Stay for the exhale. Walk the feet towards the hands. Say hi to baby. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, fold. And come all the way to standing. And bring your hands towards your heart. Inhale, lengthen. And fold. Lift the spine. And this time we'll take our right leg back. So our left foot plants into the floor nice and firmly. Untucking the toes, we'll make our way into that low lunge. So that front foot really presses into the floor. You want that deep connection with the floor and the heel. We want to scissor the leg back towards this right knee so we get that lift in the pelvis. Nice big stretch into the adductors. Take the right hand to the glutes. Switch it on, feel them engage, and then once you do, we'll take the hands back up. Lengthen the spine on the inhale, and then we bring the right hand to the inside of the left foot and spiral that chest open. So soften the face here, give a little smile. Then maybe taking the arm behind if you need to come up onto those tent fingers or TP fingers as I call them, just to reach back. A little bit more of a stretch, and then rainbow the hand over, and we tuck the right toes. So coming into that high lunge, we keep that connection with the left foot, and we lift. Now if your stance is too wide, come in a little bit, bend that right knee just to look after that hamstring, but also we fire up the glute a little bit more with that tiny bend in the knee. Lift and lengthen right out of the pelvic bowl, and then we exhale back down to baby, hello, and into our downward facing dog. Again, take a breath in, and then exhale very slowly, lower to the knees. So engaging the core, slowly does it, and we'll come down to baby. Now before we come to standing, what we might just do is take a moment to give our little ones a bit of a massage from the crown of the head all the way down to the toes. And just talk to your baby as much as you want, perhaps have a little mini conversation. We'll do some songs very soon, and we'll come to standing. All right, so bringing our little ones with us, making sure that we come to standing safely. Sometimes we don't really quite think about how we are holding ourselves when we're coming into a standing position. So our little ones can either rest right in our chest here, or maybe they're facing outward in a koala hold, or they can be in a tiger in the tree position. It all depends on how big your baby is and how wriggly, and it might even be a possibility that you don't hold your baby at all for this one, but they stay down on the ground. So we're doing a little balancing. We'll bring our feet hip distance apart. We're going to pull weight into the right foot, excuse me, zip up through the core and lift up your left knee just to hip height. So the toes are flexed. We really press into that left glute and lift up out of it. So if you need to put your, that right glute rather, put your hand on it just to feel it engage, please do. It's a really incredible feeling to feel that muscle and get that link between the brain. So the left foot stays flexed. We lift up out of that right leg. The core is engaged, so we're looking like this from the side. Nice and tall. We're really working that standing leg, which is exactly what we want to do. Take a breath in, hold here. Stay for the exhale. If you wobble and fall, just hop straight back in. Just take your time, making sure that foundation leg is super, super strong. And gently bring it down. We'll pedal out the feet. And then we're going to do some little side toe taps. So again, pouring weight into the right foot. We're going to take the left toes out. Now, instead of coming into this sort of banana shape, I want you to feel yourself engaging that right glute. And I'm going to keep saying it just so it connects. It's really important. And it makes this exercise a lot more effective. So we're going to go for 10 little pulses. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now take a moment here and we'll do one more repetition of that. So just letting that glute relax for a moment. Now you will feel this fatigue quite quickly. So you might just do 10 less reps today and try again next week. So we'll go for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and back to center again. Now final little exercise on this right side. Pour weight into that foot. Start to take the left leg back and bend that knee, flex the foot. Now we're not coming very far forward, of course we've got a baby in our arms, we don't want to hurt our backs at all, but we're engaging this glute really, really strongly. The belly stays firm and the shoulders stay up, holding for 3, 2, 1. It's somewhere in between a warrior 3 and a Natarajasana, dancing warrior. And down we go. And we'll move on to the other side. But first, let's give a nice big little sway from side to side. And we can do I'm a little teapot. So no matter how you're holding your baby, Maybe it's the same way as I am. I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Here is my handle, here is my spout. When I get all steamed up, then I shout and tip me over, pour me out. That was always a fun one with my little bubbers. So pouring weight into the left foot this time. Let's make sure our babies are nice and firm. Now, if you're firmly in our arms, if you're getting fatigued and your back is hurting, please have a little break and come back to this with your baby standing. Otherwise, maybe pop bubba on the ground. Really important that we look after our backs first and foremost, and listen when that little tweaky starts to happen. So zip up through the core, really strong in that left glute. We lift that right leg up. So flexing the toes, lengthen, even pressing the big toe mound of the right foot into the earth, engaging that big quad muscle. So take a breath in, lengthen through the spine, and we stay for that exhale. Even putting your hand there if you need to remember how to switch it on. Now, if your baby's wriggling, it obviously makes it a little bit harder. Have a break if you need to and hop back in. We're going to hold here for one more cycle of breath. Try not to tense the face, keep that core nice and engaged, and then bring the foot down. Pedal out the feet, and we'll take the toe taps. So 10 times 2, remember, just take it easy, rest if you have to. Super strong standing leg, we're going for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Have a little rest. I know my glutes always get fatigued with this one, so I'm sure you're feeling it as well. Big strong legs, ready to go for the next 10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Well done, pedal out those feet. And that little half warrior one Natarajasana pose. So pouring weight into that left foot, and we lift up the right, flex the toes, strong glutes. Just take the body a little forward and then bring the shoulders back. Strong standing leg. Big inhale. Complete exhale. Push all that air out and take the foot to the ground. Now we're going to do that I'm a little teapot to release on side number 2. So have a little fun with this. I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Here is my handle, here is my spout. When I get all steamed up, then I shout. So tip me over, pour me out. All right, little person, we need to stretch out those glutes now. So we're going to take our little one back down to the ground. Now I'm just going to face the camera so you can see what I'm doing. We're going to bring the feet a little wider than the hips and very slowly come into a pose called Malasana. So it's a deep squat. The heels will either rest on the ground or they might be a little bit up off the ground. The elbows and arms to the inside of the legs, just to gently ease them open and take the thumbs towards the heart space. This feels pretty good. If it doesn't feel pretty good and it hurts your sacrum, please skip this out. So the sacrum is that space right near the tailbone, just above the tailbone. You'll soon know if it's not going to work for you. So please be honest in your practice and skip this one out if it's not feeling great. And we'll just lengthen the right arm to the ground and open up into a twist, so you can pour a little weight into that hand and reach over. And then swap it over and reach. Let's come on back to center. And we'll come back to our baby just for a moment for a little bit of interaction. Now, Wheels on the Bus is a funny one to sing, and again, they really enjoy it. You can sort of add your own bits and pieces. We'll just do a short version of it, but we'll include the pedaling of the feet. The wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. The wheels on the bus go round and round all day long. The doors on the bus go open and shut, open and shut, open and shut. The doors on the bus go open and shut all day long. The wipers on the bus go swish, 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 swish. The wipers on the bus go swish, swish, swish all day long. The babies on the bus go wah, 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 wah. The babies on the bus go wah, wah, wah all day long. And you can keep going, you can add your own little version of it. But just remember how important song is to baby and bonding, and it's just such an important part of their upbringing. I think, you know, music really is a language on its own. So, lizard pose. Let's come back onto all fours. And we might need to scoot down just a little bit from Bubba. The right hand's going to marry up with the left, and we'll bring that right foot forward. So again, you might need to creep it forward a little bit. We're going to take a big bend into the knee, making sure that the knee sits on top of the ankle, and scoot that right knee all the way back. So you've got a beautiful big stretch through the groin here. Now you can stay up on your fists or your hands, you know, wherever your arms are happy to meet the earth. Some of you might even be able to come all the way down onto your forearms. If you do, take the foot to the edge of the mat so you've got a bit more space, and then feel free to come into the full variation of lizard pose. But for many of us, staying a bit more upright is a little bit more accessible. And we want to just remember that the body needs a lot of love and attention at the moment, so let's not go too crazy. The left leg is straight behind us, and we're just going to rock a little from side to side just to get in there. Have a chat to your little one. Take some nice big deep breaths. This is a lovely release for the groins. And then working into a pose called half monkey. So we'll walk that foot back in. Now it takes a little bit of adjusting this one. We want to bring the knee closer to the hip. So when we eventually lunge back, the hip is going to sit on top of the knee. Now this right heel, you might have to, you know, move a little to get into a good position, but once we are there, we're going to flex the toes back, and we're going to really sit back into this. It's a lovely big hamstring stretch, complementing the work we've just done into our glutes. So take a breath in and sit nice and deeply. Half monkey. And then we're going to swap that over. So you might like to come into a downward facing dog here, just to pedal out the feet. If your baby's a little bit bigger, you might be getting a little kick in the head. And we will come down onto all fours, and bring the left foot forward. Take that right knee back a little, and the left hand to the inside of the foot. So you might need to shuffle down a bit from Bubs. Bring that right knee all the way behind. Option to take the foot to the corner of the edge of the mat, and option to take hands onto fists, or perhaps you come all the way down. Either or is fine. just as long as you're working within your body's happy boundaries. It's always good to go a bit beyond at times, you know, test out the waters, but I think in postnatal yoga, we just have to be so mindful that our body's already fatigued, it's already under a fair bit of duress. So we can save the explorations for another day when we're feeling a little bit stronger. That's the whole point, is to nurture, not to overdo it. So half monkey pose, bring that foot in. And then we adjust ourselves so the hip sits on top of the knee, and we scoot that left foot forward a little bit, pressing the heel into the ground and peeling the toes back towards the face. So we're really sitting back and getting that lovely big stretch, the underside of the legs, lengthening the spine and drawing the belly towards the top of the thigh. Inhale here. And exhale, belly towards that nice big quad that we've worked. And releasing. And so we're going to come into Natarajasana. Oh, what am I talking about? Navasana, boat pose. Got my ends mixed up. Bringing baby towards us and popping little one right in our laps here. Again, depending on the size of your baby, if this isn't quite possible because they're now too big and busy, just pop them down in a safe place. But for younger babies, this is a good little one. So their little legs will probably be resting here. Lengthen through the spine, and we're going to do this in a nice, gentle way. We want to draw the navel towards the back body and then slowly start to come back in your seat. Now your arms can lift, provided your little one's not going to roll out. I want you to open up the collarbones, gazing forward and pressing the feet into the earth so you've got that anchor with the legs, and you can, you know, have a little play with where they sit. Firm belly, soft gaze, inhale. And then exhale, come back a tiny bit more if you've got that space to. If you need to hold the back of your legs, it's totally fine. If you need that support, you're still working into the core. Now, if you want to go a little bit more adventurous, you can bring your toes to the floor here and slowly we lift leg at a time. Balancing more on the sit bones, opening those chests, maybe both legs if you're feeling really adventurous. Remember, you just go at your own pace, holding for 3, 2, 1, and then come back and give your baby a nice big hug. Nice big cuddle. And then we'll start to cool it right down. I'm going to lie next to baby now. So your little one might be on a little blanket there. What we want to do is hug the knees in and just give a little rock from side to side. Your glutes might not be feeling it now, but we did a little bit of work that will most probably definitely have fatigued the muscle and worked it. Taking the left leg to the ground and bring the right ankle over the left knee. We're going to interlace the fingers either underneath the knee crease or on top of the knee and hug that knee in. If you flex that right foot, you'll get a much deeper stretch through the outer hip and glute there. So take a big long inhale and hug that knee in. Slowing life right down. Hopefully feeling a lovely big stretch. Some people like to extend the legs, so that's also an option. Have a little play with both options there. And we'll swap it over. Left knee on top of right and hug it in. You might have a little person pulling at your hair, or hopefully they're being kind to you. Sometimes it gets a little violent with hair pulling and eye poking. Inhale and exhale, draw the knee in. I know it's not quite a real replication of a Mums and Bubs class with a doll, but I've definitely had my time and fun with my little babies who are now quite a bit bigger, of all that fun stuff when you lie down on the floor together. And again, option if you'd like to lengthen the leg. And just coming into a little twist from here. So we'll take both feet to the ground, shift the hips to the right, and let the legs fall to the left. Now, bringing the knees together is a nice option, but you can also have the legs crossed over if you like as well. So if you do have the space, you can lengthen your arms out, but if you don't, just staying here, your gaze towards the ceiling, popping that left hand on top of the right knee for a bit of an anchor. And just getting that lovely stretch through the back and the belly. And then inhale, just get that belly firm to lift up the legs again, and we'll go over to the other side and into your twist. Again, arms can lengthen if you have that space. Otherwise, just keeping it nice and mellow to the lower body. And hopefully your bubba is nice and settled. And if they're not, I hope at least you've enjoyed a little bit of movement. It's always good for the soul. We certainly have our great days and our not so great days as new mums, whether you've had one baby or 10. And then let's make our way back to center again. And we'll just do a little inversion with happy baby. When your bubbas get older, they might do this quite a lot. We'll reach to the inside of the legs, hug the heels in. Now you might just like to stay here. It's quite a nice hip opener in itself. Or you might like to open those feet towards the ceiling and just take a little rock from side to side, pulling the feet towards the earth so you get that nice big stretch. And the added benefit of the inversion is wonderful for the nervous system. So it's win-win. Breathing into the belly so you'll feel it rise, and then the exhalation, pulling those feet into the space of the earth. And slowly releasing. So well done, mamas. It's time for Shavasana. You might decide to come into a little side fetal position with your baby today, or maybe propping yourself up with some cushions, having some cushions behind you, and lying back with baby on your chest. And I'll just leave it up to you how you would like to do Shavasana today. Making sure that your head is resting on something if you can, just to keep the neck and head nice and even. Knowing that you've worked the body, you've moved, you've had a little playtime with your baby. Now it's time, if you can, to close down your eyes, or at least just keeping your gaze soft and keeping nice and warm, maybe giving your baby a little chest massage. Or they might even be enjoying a feed. Just love if you could relax your eyes and the hinge of your jaw. You could relax your throat, your chest, your shoulders and your hips, your knees and your ankles and your feet. And just staying here for as long as you possibly can. Even resting the body is a form of refuel and recharge, and is incredibly restorative. even if you don't fall asleep. And staying here for as long as you can. A little longer if time permits and baby permits. If you are a mama that needs to be on the move, we'll close our practice together, so please stay lying still if you can. Just taking our hands into our baby's hands and having just a moment to be grateful. Think of something we can be very grateful for today. You know, if we've had a bit of a rough night, perhaps we can be grateful for a cozy home and nourishing food and clean water that we can access at any time. You know, if you've had a great night's sleep, perhaps just feeling grateful for a nice settled baby today who is going to allow you some space to be. You know, the tough days are tough, and sometimes it is a real practice to try and just reach for one little thing that you can be grateful for. And it really does help, the practice of gratitude, to switch our mindset into a happier and more peaceful place. So thank you, dear mamas, for joining me. Have a wonderful day. I look forward to seeing you soon.